Hello friends, welcome again. Friends, in this video we are going to discuss what feminism is. In this video we will discuss this term feminism, the origin of the term feminism, the definition of feminism, different waves of feminism as found in the history of English literature, and also at the end we will discuss different types of feminism in literature. Friends, it is said by Brigham Young that you educate a man, then you educate a man only. But when you educate a woman, you educate the whole generation. Friends, we must understand the importance of women in our society. Another writer, Anais Nin, has rightly said that I hate men who are afraid of women's strength. Okay, men and women are equal and must be considered equal in the society. And that is what feminism discusses in all walks of life. Friends, before we move ahead to discuss the definition and the origin of this term feminism, I want to ask you a very simple question. Do you know who was the first farmer in this universe? Who must have invented farming, agriculture? Friends, remember, most anthropologists believe that it was women who started this farming in some 12,000 years ago. Okay, so women has always played an important role in the development of human civilization. Friends, we know that we are living in a male dominated patriarchic society where the husband and the father is the head of the family. Such is our social structure. Men are generally considered as stronger, more powerful, physically and psychologically both, in all cultures, in all societies. But friends, it is a wrong belief. It is a wrong understanding. Men and women are equal, playing on the same platform, and men and women must be given equal rights and equal privileges. A famous writer, George Carlin, has rightly commented that men are from the earth and women are also from the earth. Deal with it. That means what George Carlin wants to say is that men and women both are born on this earth equally. By birth they are equal, but by social surroundings, we make them unequal. Let's do one exercise, friends. I think of a farmer, okay, and give a name of any human being you know, right? Think of a farmer and think of a name. You give this name to that farmer, okay? Now think of a nurse and now give any name to that nurse. Or think of a receptionist and give any name to that receptionist. Friends, I am sure You must have given the name, a male name to a farmer and a female name to a nurse or a receptionist. Why? Because right from our childhood, we are living in this patriarchal society, okay, and that's why we have bound ourselves in some bondages, within some thinkings, within some narrow thinkings. We believe that farming is a difficult thing, and that's why men should be given this job. We believe that nursing or being a receptionist is a tender job, and that's why a woman should be given this job. So, friends, let's now begin to discuss feminism in literature. Friends, when you examine the whole history of any civilization, whether it is Greek culture, Indian culture, okay, any Eastern or Western culture, when you examine the history, remember it is always his story. You do not find her story in the history. That proves the point that women are always suppressed, women are dehumanized, women are oppressed by men, women are mostly exploited by men if you examine the history. It proves that women in all cultures, they have been done injustice by men. We generally consider women as a weaker class, okay, and women have been struggling hard at every moment to get their rights. And this is precisely why a new movement, which is known as feminist movement, started in all branches of knowledge. This was the demand of the time, that somebody should come out to raise the voice of the women, to give justice, to give equality, to give the rights to the women. And that movement, friends, is known as the movement of feminism. This movement of feminism has opened up so many debates around the world, with a view to solve these problems of women and with a view to give them proper justice. Right. A writer, Rebecca West, has rightly said that I myself have never been able to find out precisely what feminism is. Means the writer wants to say that I have never thought about what feminism is. I only know that people call me a feminist whenever I express some sentiments, emotions that differentiate me from a doormat. Friends, the life of women in our cultures, in our societies, have been, bound within a house, not outside the door. So that's why Rebecca West says that whenever I talk about a woman outside a doormat, I become a feminist. Another writer, Gloria Steinem, has said that a feminist is one who recognizes, who knows the equality and full humanity of men and women. So friends, according to Gloria, feminism means equality between men and women. Feminism means humanity between men and women. Feminism means justice to both men and women. Okay. Many scholars and critics and historians, they have used this term feminism, and they have tried to explain this term in different manners. Some, some historians or some critics refer to historical and political movements in the United States of America and Europe, and some other scholars, they claim that women live unjustly without rights and equality. I would like to quote this writer Zara. Zara wants to say that women need feminism. Why? Because there are women who suffer injustice. So, friends, the whole idea is that we need this movement of feminism. Why? Because much injustice has been done and is being done to the women even in today's times. The word feminism, friends, actually comes from French language. In French language, there was a word called feminism, and according to the Cambridge University, feminism is what? It is a belief that women should be allowed the same rights, same power, and same opportunity as men. So, Cambridge Dictionary believes that women must be given equal rights, equal power, and equal opportunities. And women must be treated in the same manner as men are treated, or a set of activities intended to achieve this state. So, that is what feminism is according to Cambridge Dictionary. So, in short, we can define this term feminism as an attempt to criticize the male domination of male domination in our society, and to think about the rights of the women. That is what feminism is. Okay. This term feminism is used to describe cultural, political, or economic movement. Okay, this movement actually began in all fields, not only in literature, in the field of politics, okay, in the field of economics, everywhere, in the field of sociology, everywhere this movement started. When it started, that we will discuss later, right? But it is a cultural, political, economic and social movement, which aims for equal rights for both men and women. The term feminism and feminist, these two terms gained popularity in the 1970s, okay, when they started to be used in public gatherings. For the first time, these words feminism or feminist, they became popular in 1970s. But friends, let's have a look at the historical background of feminism. When actually feminist literature began. Friends, we have been studying English literature. Have you ever thought that why there are less female characters in literature? Have you ever thought? Why the protagonist is always a male character? You read Hamlet, Macbeth, King Lear, Othello. All four tragic heroes are male heroes. You read Edward II, you read Dr. Faustus, you read the Jew of Malta. You read any piece of literature produced during the 16th century or during the 17th century, mostly the protagonists are male characters. And that itself proves that, this it was a demand that women must be given equal portion, equal proportion in literature. No doubt, here and there you find some female important characters. Okay, like in Merchant of Venice, we have a character called Portia who plays a very important role in the play. But such examples are rare examples. And that's why I believe that we need this movement even in today's times. Actually, it began with from Britain and France. Britain and France were among the first countries who were, women started fighting for their rights of education. Simon de Beauvoir wrote that the first time we see a woman take up her pen in defense of her sex was when Christine de Pizan wrote Epître or Dieu Amour in the 15th century. So according to Simon is an important feminist writer. Okay, according to him, for the first time, these women, they took up the pen in order to raise their voice during the 15th century for the first time. However, we must remember that it was not until the early 19th century when women began to achieve changes in the society. It took about 400 years, from 15th century till 19th century. It was only during the 19th century that women got a little importance in the society, in politics, in their cultures. But remember this name, Mary Wollstonecraft. Mary Wollstonecraft, who was the author of the Vindication of the Rights of Women, which is published in 1792, she is considered as the founder of this movement of feminism, because it was in this essay, Vindication of the Rights of Women, which was published in 1792, that we find, a comprehensive theory for the betterment, for the equality of men and women. So when we are talking about the origin of feminism, it is believed that Mary Wollstonecraft's share is a larger share. Wollstonecraft was a woman who, as Erin Charnock says in her book Man and Making of Modern Britain Feminism, she says that Mary Wollstonecraft spoke up quite loudly for what had been until then a largely silent section of human race. Till 1792, most of the times women were silent, and the credit goes to Mary Wollstonecraft, who raised this voice of women in her works. Scholars even today consider Mary Wollstonecraft as the founder mother, as the pioneer of British feminism, and this Vindication of the Rights of Women, is considered as the first document which is a completely feminist document. So friends, after getting that historical background, now we want to discuss three waves of feminism, right? Feminist scholars, they have divided this movement into three different waves. The first wave of feminism, second wave of feminism, and the third wave of feminism. Let's discuss these three waves one by one. The first wave actually refers mainly to the women's suffrage movement. Suffrage movement means women's right to vote in the 19th and early 20th century in the UK, United Kingdom. Okay. So the first movement of feminism began in UK in order to give the women the rights to vote in the election. Okay. And also this movement spread in other continents like America, and in United States also we find the same movement in the beginning of the 20th century, where women started coming up, women started raising their voices in order to get rights to vote in the election. Okay. Originally, this first wave focused on the promotion of the equality and property of rights for women. Here, in the beginning of the 20th century, for the first time, women started to raise the questions why women are not given some rights in property. Okay, so these two things, the rights for property and the rights to vote, these two things were mainly raised in the first wave of feminism. I'm going to quote Margaret Waters. Margaret Waters, again a very important feminist writer, she has written a book entitled as Feminism, a very short introduction. In this book, she writes that for a married woman, her home becomes a prison house. Friends, in our society, we must have observed that a woman gets married and a home becomes a prison for her. The house itself, as well as everything in it, is a huge prison. The house belongs to the husband, and all fixtures and furnitures, are belonging to the husband, not to the wife. Okay, and wife simply remains a breeding machine. To produce children, husbands have been using their wives as a machine. Married women are, in fact, according to Margaret Waters, married women are just like slaves. Their situation is no better than that of Negroes in the West. So, married women, according to Margaret Waters, are considered as slaves in all cultures. And that's why, the first wave of feminism started, in which the rights to vote and the rights for property, these two issues were mainly raised. If we talk about the second wave of feminism, it emerged after the World War II, and it can be described as the women's liberation movement, which focused mainly on gaining legal and social equality for women. So here there was a slight change. Here some laws had to be changed in order to consider women as equal. Okay, this period was also understood as a continuation of the first wave of feminism. In fact, the term first wave was coined after the second wave came into existence, right? Since the second wave had slightly different goal, it needed a new term, right? So somewhere in the 1930s or 40s, we find, in the 1940s, 50s, we find the second wave of feminism. This second wave feminism discussed women's cultural and political inequalities and worked for to get the women a proper place and honor in the society, in the culture, and also in politics. One of the most influential feminists of the 20th century was Simone de Beauvoir, who is also the author of The Second Sex. The Second Sex is a popular work written by Simon, and this statement is very popular. One is not born but rather becomes a woman. So according to Simon, women are not born women. We make the women women when they grow up. I want to give you an example. Like, when a child is crying, or you must have observed in our families, when a child is crying, the mother says, "Oh, why are you crying like a baby? Why are you crying like a girl?" What is this? That shows that we believe that crying is the job of girls, not of the boys. And that's the reason why, right from childhood, we developed this tendency that women are weaker and men are stronger. But friends, we need to change this understanding, we need to change this belief. The third wave of feminism, you can say, comes somewhere in the beginning of 1990s, okay, and it continues till present times. In postmodern, and this is also known as postmodern feminism, right? So postmodern feminism, or the third wave of feminism, begins in 1990s, okay. This postmodern feminism refers to the perceived failures of the second wave feminism, okay, and second wave feminism, and it continues in fighting for the same beliefs as in the previous waves, okay. So previous waves of the first wave in the beginning of the 20th century, second wave after 1940s. So whatever the questions were raised in the first two waves, they continue to ask for the rights of women even in the third wave, okay. However, the movement's main focus is slightly shifted. It is less focused on political processes, okay. It is less focused on laws, and here more focus is given to the individual self. Since 1919s, women are more recognized in society, and not in the United Kingdom, but also in other countries all over the world. It is because of this third wave of feminism that all across the globe, all across the universe, mostly women have the same opportunities. Most of the women have found equal opportunities for education. In today's times, if you examine India, you find that government thinks about and government provides equal education, free education to women, okay. And this is the result of the first, second and third waves of feminism. So friends, now let's start the discussion of different types of feminism as found in literature. Friends, there are mainly three types: socialist feminism, or it is known as Marxist or materialist feminism. Second is liberal or reformist feminism, and the third one is radical feminism or separatist feminism. So one by one, let's discuss these three types of feminism. The first one is the socialist feminism. This type of feminism mainly focuses on how women are done injustice in terms of class and gender. gender inequality and inequality in private property. So as far as social status is concerned, women are done injustice, and such socialist feminists, they discuss this problem. They raise the questions as to why women are not paid at home. Okay, women are working as housewives, as homemakers within the house, and why they are not paid, right? Why they are not paid? Their job is equally important as men. Okay, mainly the socialist feminists worked for the upliftment of economic and social status of women. The second type of feminism that we see in literature is liberal feminism or reformist feminism. These liberal feminists, they believe that gender inequality can be eliminated through legislative and electoral reforms, right? As in somewhere in my this lecture, I told you, that in the first wave of feminism, women were given the rights to vote, the rights for property. So this liberal feminism, they discuss these problems to give the rights to the women in election and also in property. The third type of feminism is known as radical feminism or separatist feminism. Radical means very strong. Okay, radical feminists, they mainly focus male psychology and male biology as the source of women's oppression. Why women are oppressed by men? These radical feminists believe that men are oppressing, dehumanizing women. Why? Because men biologically are different from women. The most extreme form of radical feminism is separatism, which advocates a total break from men. These feminists, they believe that women should stop helping men in all walks of life. Let's separate men from women. And they consider men as the super enemies of women. And not only this, they go to the extent of saying that we must snatch away the rights and privileges of men in order to bring and establish equality in our society. So this is the third type of feminism. Friends, if we talk about literature, English literature, you must remember these names who are considered as the most important feminist writers. Number one, Mary Wollstonecraft, which I just told you in the beginning of this lecture. Remember this title, A Vindication for the Rights of Women, published in 1792. This is the landmark in the history of feminism. Maya Angelou, another writer, Margaret Atwood, Jane Austen, Charlotte Bronte, Emily Bronte, George Eliot, and Sylvia Plath. These are some very important dominant writers in the field of feminist literature. So friends, let's come to the conclusion, and we can say that feminism as a separate movement started with the publication of Vindication of the Rights of Women by Mary Wollstonecraft in 1792. So this was the beginning of feminism in literature. As the whole feminist movement has developed over centuries, after 18th and 19th century, the first wave you find at the end of 19th century and in the beginning of the 20th century, which talk about women's right to vote and women's rights to get properties, right? And then second wave comes after the Second World War, 1940s onwards. That was liberal feminism, and the third wave in which the main focus is on the individual woman, not as a whole. So, all in all, you can say that in the 20th century, when women finally gained their rights to vote, became respected in the society, and were more equal to men, writers now wrote about some new topics more openly, which is also one of the main differences in the development of literature. So, all in all, I hope the idea is clear to you, friends. I come to the end of this discussion. If you have any doubts and questions, please do ask in the comment section of this channel. And friends, please share this video among your friends, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to click on the bell icon so that when I upload some new videos, you will get the notification. Thank you very much.